Unlike previous wars and our more recent ones in Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan, our Vietnam veterans did not come home to parades and a nation grateful for their service. Too often they were treated poorly, and their families experienced uncaring, even though they were enduring the hardship of separation from their loved one, and in too many cases, the loss of their serviceman. There was little community support, and those service members who came home wounded were most often left to nurse their injuries, their scars, their memories, without the popular outpouring of assistance that fortunately we see today. And I only hope, and I pray to our Lord, that that assistance and that support will continue to our service men, women, and their families. They serve for you, and they serve sometimes in the most ungodly places, and they do it for you. It should be remembered that over 58,000 were killed in action during the Vietnam War, and their names appear on the wall in Washington, D.C. 75,000 were disabled. There are still over 1,000 unaccounted for, and 7,484 women served in Vietnam, 8 having died in that conflict. These facts represent real people and touch upon real families. It is only fitting that those who served be honored for their service and for their sacrifice. As I thought about how best to characterize those who served in Vietnam and the families that they left behind, one word continued to resound: faithful. Faithful. They were faithful to their country, their family, their respective armed service whose uniform they wore, and most importantly, to each other. Webster's dictionary defines faithful as being loyal, conscientious, reliable, trustworthy, and devoted. As I look out to my fellow veterans of the Vietnam War and their families, some of whom are gathered here today, I believe Mr. Webster got it just about right. They served selflessly, while too many others chose to avoid service. They understood right from wrong and simply strove to do right. They could be counted on, and their devotion to duty was exemplary. Too often, the contributions made by our veterans of the Vietnam War go unrecognized. They came home to be the leaders at all levels of our government, business, and education, thus ensuring our nation's continued growth and prosperity. Today, we have the finest Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps because of the lessons that they learned fighting through and overcoming some of the most difficult conditions known to servicemen and women in war, and shared these lessons with those who followed them. More importantly, they have been the fathers, mothers, sisters, and brothers who returned home to build families and pursue their chosen occupations while always contributing and being faithful to our nation and to their fellow citizens. They have made a difference, and they continue to do so. Our country and its people are better off today because of their faithfulness. I want to conclude with a story about being faithful. All of you veterans gathered here today, I'm sure, have similar tales that, in most cases, you keep to yourself. However, I believe the young Marine in my story epitomizes who the veterans are. During the Tet Offensive of 1968, I commanded a rifle company in the 2nd Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, assigned to recapture the city of Way as a result of the Tet Offensive of 1968. It was a typical, tough, urban fight. House to house, room to room, always in close contact with the enemy. Within the ranks of Hotel Company, there was a young black lance corporal who was everybody's friend. We could find ourselves in a difficult firefight only to look over to him for a smile and a thumbs up of encouragement. He always made you feel good. About a week into the fight, we had recaptured the province capitol building on the south side of the Perfume River and were moving to drive the North Vietnamese Army forces from the southern part of the city of Hue. We had just kicked off our attack about 0700 in the morning to clear the buildings to our direct front, when this young lance corporal was wounded. He was evacuated back to the battalion aid station, and within an hour, here he was, returning up the street. "Skipper, where's my platoon?" "I can't leave my brothers." "Over there, Marine." And then, about 3 hours later, as we cleared building after building, he was hit again. This time was much more serious. He was evacuated all the way back to the regimental aid station, where he was treated and ordered to be evacuated from the city. However, when the medical personnel moved on to treat others, he again walked back some 10 to 12 blocks and greeted me. Skipper, where's my platoon? I can't leave my brothers." He was wrapped up in more bandages than a monster in an old horror film. But later, as we held up for the night in a coal yard that commanded 2 avenues of approach into our lines, he was out building up his defensive position. And just by luck, by chance, from across the river, we were hit by mortar rounds, and he went down. I ran over to him. I knelt down beside him. I could see big tears in his eyes. And he said to me, "Skipper, I'm sorry, but I got to leave my brothers this time." Like those of us gathered here today who served so selflessly in Vietnam, and those of you who have served in our nation's other conflicts, my young lance corporal was always faithful to his God, to his family, to his country, and to his service branch. But you know what? Most importantly, to his fellow soldier, sailor, airman, Coast Guardman, or Marine. We can be proud, as can the families of our brothers and sisters who did not return from the Vietnam War, that they were faithful. Those who have served in our other conflicts can be equally proud. Our loyalty, reliability, and devotion can never be questioned. As Lee Greenwood, in his ballad, "I'm Proud to Be an American," sings so meaningfully, I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. We love this land. God bless the USA and all of you who have gathered here today. Thank you.